Hello and welcome to Indie Attack. I'm Kelson.
And I'm Woody.
Woody! We are finishing up our Speccy Jam week with last but not least, Magenta Sky. And this is by Chris B. And that is at Contralogic. And this is
That's a good name for a studio.
Yeah,
studio Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's solid. That's not a mouthful.
Continue.
Yes. Tangents abound. So Magenta Sky is a platformer where you're collecting stars, you're avoiding enemies, and you're shooting like little blocks, laser beams, or whatever it is, and you're kind of trying to beat the clock. Ultimately, you're trying to collect all the stars.
It's kind of a speedrun game.
Yeah, it's right.
It's a little bit similar to Game Jam.
Yeah,
last week.
Mm-hmm, definitely. It's got that real arcade flavor because it is all about speed and about just like simple platforming, simple shooting, whatever. And what I really think is distinct about Magenta Sky is that it has it's one of the more, I think, vibrant like games of the color. I think it's maybe the most artfully done as far as just the tasteful color palette. The backgrounds look really cool. There's certain screens that I thought, even though you weren't really playing on them, they just looked really cool, and then others where there's more action going on, and like each screen is like one will be red, one will be blue, one will be pink, sort of stuff like that, and it just felt like a real colorful experience.
Out of all the games we've had to do, this is probably one of the only ones I would really describe as like Twitch-based.
Yeah.
This is a fast game.
Yeah.
You're measured down to, I think, like the 100th of a second or something.
Totally. Yeah.
On your time.
The stopwatch.
Yeah. You have an attack. You have to be really quick in all your movements and like minute. I have a question for you, Kelson.
Yes.
How long did it take for you to realize you had a double jump?
Yeah, that was maybe my 5th try or something like that.
It took me a few tries to realize double jump was a thing, and I'm wondering how I'm supposed to get some of these stars.
So more evidence that the hosts of the show are some incompetent dingbats.
There's a couple of cool things though in this game.
Yeah.
There's a couple of solutions that I won't spoil.
Yeah.
For how you're supposed to get stuff that are kind of neat.
Right.
Like think outside the box. One Kelson didn't figure out.
I know, I wasn't thinking outside the bun on that one. But yeah, Woody had to illuminate me. The final star is kind of hard to get, but it's cool how you get it. We'll say that. So yeah, ultimately I would say Magenta Sky is one of those where it's like, of all these games, I feel like there were highs, there were lows, as far as, is it a complete game or not. This is sort of a full experience, but I wouldn't say that it's a, essential game. It's a very simple game.
It's a full experience. I wouldn't put it on the same level as Bug-Eyed Blob or
Teddy Tea Leaf. Yeah, those two
for
were
a level
great.
of full experience. This feels like a level.
Yeah.
Like there's a stopping point, but I could have easily played a lot more of this.
But I could, exactly, yeah, at the same time, it was just so playable and so quick, and also it just looked, it looked great, that I would say Magenta Sky is worth playing, and it was a fun little experience, and it kind of rounds out the overall feeling that I had about this game, Jam Week, which was that this was totally worthwhile. And
there's a surprising little blend of like games and some really creative gameplay concepts or something that you think, it would have been really easy to, Speccy Jam turn everything into a platformer.
Right.
But there was some really creative stuff, both in terms of like programming and design. And, we got stuff. There were games you didn't play that sounded really cool. Some of them you needed to run on a ZX Spectrum emulator.
Yes,
which we did not do.
Right. We didn't take that leap quite yet, but it's something that I think we'll definitely revisit Speccy Jam next autumn, if that's when the third one is going to go down.
Yeah.
And it's check, and there's plenty more games to check out. So if you're intrigued by any of these, I'd say dig into the many games that they have around there and.
Thanks for checking out our Speccy Jam videos, and we'll be back next week with some more stuff.